Okay, so, we're all about keeping our eyes on the future of higher ed,
Hmm.
and you sent me this really interesting AI policy from Marmara University.
Yeah,
It looks like they're really going all in on AI, and I mean, weaving it into like every aspect of the university experience.
absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that makes this policy so interesting. Um, it's not just sort of like dipping their toes in the water.
Mm-hmm.
It really is this like fundamental rethink of like, okay, how is teaching and learning going to work in a world with AI? And how do we do that responsibly?
Yeah.
Right? Like they're really thinking about that. So yeah, it's a comprehensive blueprint for how they're going to integrate AI into everything.
Yeah, for anyone listening who is, maybe thinking about, where they want to go to school, or maybe they're already in a program somewhere,
Right.
I think this is a really interesting look at what the future of learning could look like.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that you should be looking for, right?
Yeah.
If you're thinking about where you want to invest your time and energy in education, you want to make sure that the institution is actually thinking about the future.
Yeah, and that they're not just gonna, teach you the same old stuff, the same old way.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's break down some of the key parts of this AI policy, starting with something that happens right when a student enters Marmara University.
Yeah.
They have this AI-powered test.
Right. So imagine this, like you're a new student, you're coming into Marmara.
Yeah.
Before you even set foot in a classroom, they're using AI to try to figure out how you learn best.
Huh.
What are your interests? What are you passionate about?
Like a learning style.
Yeah, exactly, like a learning style assessment. But then it goes beyond that because they use that information to actually create personalized course content.
Oh, wow. So it's not like
It's not just
you're in a lecture hall with 300 other people and you're all getting the same information.
right. It's tailored to you.
This is like you're getting your own personalized education from day one.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's, it's a much more direct and relevant learning journey for you as a student.
And is this AI-generated content static, or does it evolve?
No, it's not static. The way it's designed is that the AI can actually update and adapt the learning materials as new information becomes available,
Okay.
or potentially even as the students are progressing through the material, the AI can actually adjust things to make sure that it's the most effective and up-to-date curriculum possible.
Now, of course, one of the big questions whenever we talk about AI in education is, what about the educators?
Right.
Right? What about the professors? A lot of people are worried that AI is going to replace teachers.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's a valid concern. But one of the things that Marmara University does really well in this policy is they make it very clear that AI is a tool to support and empower educators, not to replace them.
Okay.
And they have a big emphasis on actually training faculty on how to effectively use AI in their teaching. So it's not just like, here's AI, figure it out. It's like, let's give you the resources and the support to actually integrate this in a way that's meaningful and that allows you to still be, the expert in the room.
So it's not just about the personalized learning content, right?
Right.
This policy also talks about how students are going to be interacting with AI more broadly.
Right.
And one of the things that stood out to me was the AI clubs.
Yeah, yeah. So they're really trying to foster AI literacy among the students. And these AI clubs would be like a space for students to connect with each other,
Yeah.
to learn about AI developments, to discuss the ethical implications, like all of those things.
So they're not just teaching students how to use AI, but also
Like, what does it mean, right?
to be a citizen in a world with AI.
Exactly.
And I think this also really gets to the idea that
Mhm.
this university wants to make these AI technologies accessible to every student on campus.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
and are very intentional about saying that this is not just for, the computer science students and the engineering students. Like, AI is going to be part of everybody's experience here. And we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to learn about it and to use it.
And it's not just about the general student body, right?
Right.
There's a whole section in this policy about supporting students with special needs.
Yeah. And this is one of the most exciting things about AI in education, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because the potential for AI to help students with disabilities is just huge. So, for example,
Yeah.
they talk about using AI to facilitate real-time communication for a student who uses sign language.
Hmm.
And that can make such a difference in terms of inclusion and accessibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really powerful.
Okay, so we've got all this AI going on, lots of data is being collected. What about the privacy and security of student data?
Yeah, that's a big question, right?
Yeah.
And the policy is very clear that they're committed to keeping all student data confidential and secure. They understand that this is a sensitive issue, and that they need to be very careful about how they're handling student data. So that's definitely a priority for them.
Another thing I wanted to ask about is the use of AI in assessment.
Right.
How are they thinking about that?
So they're looking at ways to use AI to support evaluation methods. And the goal there is really to enhance objectivity and fairness in how student work is assessed.
Okay.
Now, of course, this raises a whole bunch of other questions, right?
Yeah.
Like, what does fairness mean in the context of AI?
Yeah.
And how do we make sure that the AI isn't biased in some way?
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation right there.
Exactly. But I think it's really interesting that they're thinking about how to use AI to potentially make assessment more objective and fair.
So with all of this AI integration, it seems like a pretty big task to oversee and manage.
Right.
What's the plan for that?
So they're creating a dedicated AI oversight unit within the university. And what's really cool about this is it's not just made up of AI experts. It also includes ethicists, IT security specialists, academics, researchers, and even student representatives.
Wow, that's a really diverse group of people.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because it means that there are going to be a lot of different perspectives and viewpoints considered when it comes to how AI is being used at the university. And this unit is responsible for a whole bunch of things, like monitoring AI usage in assignments, ensuring that AI is being used ethically, and safeguarding personal data.
So there's accountability built into the system.
Yeah, for sure.
So just to be clear, students can't just use AI for everything without any kind of accountability.
Right, that's a good point. The policy actually requires students to disclose any use of AI in their work.
Oh, okay.
So if they used an AI tool to help them write an essay or to generate some code,
Right.
they have to be upfront about that. And this is important because it helps to maintain academic integrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also think it's interesting that the policy frames AI as a tool to support thinking and creativity,
Yeah.
not just as a way to get the right answer.
It's like a shortcut.
Yeah, it's more about enhancing their own abilities. So they give an example of like a design student using AI to explore different color palettes.
Okay.
So it's not like the AI is designing the thing for them.
Right.
It's more like the AI is helping them to be more creative in their own process.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last thing I want to touch on is that this policy isn't just about Marmara University, right? They're talking about collaborating with other universities too.
Yeah, they're really thinking about the bigger picture here. And they specifically talk about sharing AI data sets, algorithms, and software with other institutions. So it's not just about like, we're going to do our own thing and be the best.
Right.
It's like, we want to work together to advance AI in education as a whole. And I think that's really promising, right?
Yeah.
Because it means that we can see some really exciting collaborations and innovations coming out of this.
So this AI policy at Marmara University, it's really comprehensive. It really covers everything from how students learn to how the university operates. And I think for our listeners, it really raises some important questions about the role of technology in education.
Absolutely.
What does it mean to learn in a world with AI, and what are the responsibilities that come with that?
Yeah, those are huge questions.
Yeah.
And I don't think there are any easy answers, but I think it's really encouraging to see universities like Marmara taking this seriously and really thinking about how to integrate AI in a way that's ethical and responsible.
I think it's really exciting to see these conversations happening.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great model for other universities to follow. So if you're out there and you're thinking about your own education or maybe your kids' education, this is the kind of thing that you should be looking for. Look for institutions that are embracing AI in a thoughtful way
Yeah.
and that are really thinking about the future of learning.
Yeah. And I would even go one step further and say, given what we've seen in this policy, think about other areas of university life or even your own personal learning journey that could be transformed by AI. Like, what are the possibilities?
Yeah.
It's a really exciting time to be thinking about these things.
Absolutely. So much is changing so quickly, and there's so much potential there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this has been a fascinating discussion. Thank you so much for sharing this policy with me. And
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
I'm really excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, me too.
And for our listeners, thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into the future of higher education.